Well, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started with our live webinar today. We've got Jody Deegan and Ashley Costner Montoya, your training implementation coaches, with you today. Good morning, Ash. Hello. All right. If someone could hear me, if they could raise their hand, I would greatly appreciate that. All right, got it, Ash. Thank you very much, Lucas. Appreciate it. Okay, cool. We're going to go ahead and get started then using the Next RP Performance Journal. And if anyone's not familiar with this, it's a really great journal that helps you stay organized. And one of the biggest challenges that we hear as coaches all the time is how do I stay organized? There's just not enough hours in a day, and a lot of things slip past us. So we really want to make sure that we're organized and there we go. Okay, Ash, are you unmuted now, Ash?
I am.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is a great tool to really help you be organized and not lose track of things. So I found it to be pretty helpful personally. This is what it looks like. And these can be found on the Nexstar website. So if you go to the member site for Nexstar and you go to the very bottom, there's a tab that's entitled Publications. And on the Publications tab, I think it's a tab where a lot of members don't tend to organically go, but there are really some great resources down there. Frank Blau's book is down there, Jack Tester's book. And if you scroll below those, and this is really kind of where the hidden gems are, all of the previous At Your Service magazines are also located down at the bottom. And those are not just fluff. There's really some fantastic articles because we always highlight members that have great processes or are experiencing some success in each one of those At Your Services magazines. The most current one, which I got in my mailbox yesterday, highlighted Katia Plumbing, and it just shares their amazing processes that they put in place. But those are all below there, and that's a great resource for you. But that's also where you go to order the Nexstar Peak Performance Journal. So we have those available to you. You can purchase those. We pass those on to you at cost, exactly what it costs us to produce those. And it's not cheap. Anytime you're producing a book and getting it printed, the costs are probably a little bit more than we would expect them to be, but those are available to you, and we pass those on at cost, just that you've got the opportunity to get those. Okay. Now, on a show of hands, please raise your hand on your dashboard if you're currently using the Peak Performance Journal. Cool, Lucas. All right, Joe. Wow, quite a few of you. Awesome. All right. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Ted. All right, beautiful. I'm glad to hear that. All right, we're going to keep moving here. So this was a collaborative effort from the entire Nexstar staff. Our mission was to incorporate best practices into a tool that's going to help you be more organized, motivated, and to win the day. So it's based upon a bullet journal type format. And what we've done was we've taken that format and Nexstarized it. So if anyone's unfamiliar with the bullet journal format, it's a really great tool to help you stay organized. And what makes it different from other types of planning systems is that you can really use this thing it's flexible. You're really not trapped into the box. It's a little less rigid, and it gives you the flexibility to really lean on this thing as more of a tool. So it's pretty cool. And the Nexstar staff all got to incorporate favorite sayings. Some were original, some were favorites from other great figures, but we've included that. And it also incorporates the 8 laws of double-digit profitability, which is really the cornerstone that we talk about a lot in Nexstar, because those 8 laws of double-digit profitability are solid gold. They really are best practices. All right. So how to use this journal? Number 1, be consistent. Goals are achieved one step at a time, and that means daily activities. So you've all heard the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? And really that's like everything else in our lives. For those of us that are owners, coaches, managers, sales managers, there's never enough hours in the day, and everything tends to get heaped on your desk. And this is a fantastic tool for you to take that and funnel it down into a bite-sized plan. Um, so the daily activities should align with the key initiatives you set up on your 100-day plan. So that's a really key piece of this, because the bullet or the peak performance journal is built on a quarter. Okay, so if you were using this journal every single day diligently, you would go through this journal in 1 quarter's time, because it's built with 13 weeks and several days in there. So you would use this thing in a quarter, but that also aligns with your 100-day plan. All right. So your daily activities should also align with the Next Star 8 laws. And notable quote down here: a person without goals is like a ship adrift at sea, liable to be washed up on any shore when they do not know which one they set sail for. And that's a very true statement. I believe that might have even been a Zig Ziglar. But all right, before we move on, does anyone have any questions at this point? I'll give you a moment to raise your hand if we do. All right. And Ashley, anything you would like to contribute at this point? All right. We'll keep moving. And here we've got the poster for the 8 laws of double-digit profitability, working the model, win the day. These are fantastic keys for your business to be successful. And on the right side, we've got an example of a 100-day plan. You must know where you want to go before you take a single step. And so the 100-day plan, this is the quarterly plan. This is what I want to achieve in the next 100 days. And the Peak Performance Journal helps you take this and funnel it down into bite-sized pieces. We start with perfect mornings. Moods don't happen to us, they're a choice. Start your day with the 5-5-20 perfect morning routine to choose the best for you. So as soon as you wake up, you shift your mind into a place of gratitude by listing 5 appreciations specific to the moment. Focus on what is good in your life. And again, do what works best for you. This is a very interpretive system. It's not meant to be rigid. It's meant to be what works for you. Personally, I do my gratitudes after I get back from the gym every morning and before I start my workday, because I find that's when I'm sitting at my desk, I can really think about the things that I am grateful for. And I've already had a couple hours of things to be grateful for, and don't overthink these gratitudes. The point of this is to really get into the habit of showing and thinking in an appreciative way. So don't get too hung up on this. I had a great conversation this week, with one of the other coaches about, really what should go on here. And because we had members that were really struggling with trying to come up with 5 gratitudes, and I can tell you personally, when I write mine down in the morning, they can be really kind of ridiculous little simple things, but they're things that at the moment, as I think of them, I'm grateful for. I'm going to share some of mine from this week. So yesterday I wrote down pool, because I got up in the morning and I did 40 lengths of the pool, and I was thankful for that. I was appreciating the fact that I have access to a pool and I've got the health that I can get up and actually do that and enjoy it. I was grateful for the results that I was getting on my project. I was grateful for the friends that I have at the gym, so I was grateful for friendship. It was an absolutely spectacular day here in Southern California, so I was appreciative of the weather. And my 5th gratitude yesterday was Next Star. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do what I do with the people that I do it with. So those, they're very basic things. They're simple gratitudes, but you have to be. It's the exercise of taking the time to physically write it down and think about things that are great in your life. Any questions or thoughts about that? Okay, we'll keep moving. Next, we've got win the day. Identify 5 goals for the day that would make today an all-around win. These may be static daily goals. Choose goals that at the end of the day would define a win if you accomplished them. And we'll take a look at the sheets in your peak performance journal in a moment, but there's a spot in there for 5 goals. And again, they don't have to be big things, but you want to be able to look back at your day and say, okay, if I did these 5 things, and you can make more if you want to, but we've got spots in there for 5. You want to be able to look back and say, did I win the day? And, you know, again, they're not quite as strenuous as some of the initiatives we might put on a 100-day plan. You know, they don't necessarily have to be quantifiable, but you should be able to look back and say, okay, I did this, 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 and this, and I achieved all of those things today, and therefore, hey, I won the day. And again, I find this to be extremely helpful for me. I typically have more. I might have as few as 3, but typically I've got more like 6 or 7 things that I have to do today. And they can be simple things like booking airfare for an upcoming trip, reaching out to a member that I owe a phone call to. You know, they can be a lot of those different types of things. You know, for you and your business, it could be, hey, I need to visit this customer today, or I need to bring Jimmy into the shop and we really need to have a one-on-one. You know, just things that you've got to achieve today that are on your list, you know, and that's really what this is. And I want to back up a little bit. The bullet journal was originally introduced to our coaching staff, I think, from Tom Marriott. And Tom Marriott uses a bullet journal successfully and has for, I think, a few years now. And when he was having his one-on-ones with Scott Pearson, our coaching manager, he would always say, okay, I'll put it on my list. It's on my list. All right. And so one day Scott asked him, what is this list you're always talking about? And that's when Tom shared his bullet journal format that he uses, and Scott shared it with the rest of us. And I've adopted it, you know, I think I started in 2015. So it's been a few years now, and I just love the thing. It's really been helpful for me. So it keeps me on track. Now, it's not always perfect. You know, sometimes I get off this when I travel and I get away from it, and you know, we're not machines. You know, we're humans, and sometimes we fall off the horse there. But the important thing is to get back on, write it down, and get started again. So that's the beauty of this thing. And Tony Robbins says, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. All right, that's my Tony Robbins impersonation. Next, we've got the perfect mornings, the 20. All right, 20 reps of heart pumping exercise, 20 minutes, 20 miles, 20 laps, 20 reps, whatever. Okay, try to do 20 of something. And if you do the 5 gratitudes, if you do the 5 goals and the 20 of something activities, you got your 5-5-20. So start your day in a place of peace, in a place of motivation, and a place of activity. And it's really a huge start. And we do coach the 5-5-20 in the service system class. For those of you that maybe haven't been in there recently, the last probably 3 years, we've coached the 5-5-20 in service system. We talk about it in our management level classes because it really is, you know, we're not just talking about fixing things out there. We're talking about, you know, ourselves, right? We have to work on ourselves before we're successful in other things. All right. Ashley, anything you'd like to join? Like to contribute in there? Okay, we'll keep moving. Oh, hand is not raised. All right. All right, we'll keep going. Oh, one moment. I think, okay, I think we got Ash muted. All right, sorry for the confusion here. Let me try to, I'm showing that you're self-muted, but let's try this again.
All right, that I might be good now.
There we are.
Jody, I was just going to add, I can tell a difference when I do my 5-5-20 than when I maybe am, a little late getting going. I don't set my goals for the day. I've found the best days I have are when I really take the time. And like you said, small gratitudes. Mine was just the sunshine yesterday. My sister and, having a good cup of coffee sitting on my porch. And then, whatever that 20 minutes is or 20 reps, and then defining my goals for the day, I just find my day goes so much smoother. And if I do, get off track, I've got something that brings me right back to it.
Nice. And this is probably really hitting home for you right now. For those of you that don't know, Ashley's training for her first marathon, so I'm sure you've got a little of that daily activity on your daily plan too, huh?
Yeah, I do. On Mondays and Wednesdays for sure.
Nice. All right. Thanks for sharing, Ashley. All right. Let's move on to move the rock. All right. So on the right side, you'll see a picture of what the daily page looks like. So we've got our 5-5-20 on the top there. Okay. And then we've got another page, and it's move the rock. So next, glance back at your 100-day plan and decide what specific actions you're going to take today to move the rock up the mountain. So if you're working on a big project, it may be as simple as work on my project for 30 days. I've got a monster project on my 100-day plan right now. And so I break it down into 30-minute blocks of time, and if I work 30 minutes on my major project every single day, I'm going to continue to move forward on the big project, So if you've got something big, and maybe, for you as an operator, maybe it's building your budget, for example. Well, building your budget, that's an elephant. It's a pretty big project. So if you break that down into, hey, I'm going to spend 30 minutes on my budget today, and it just keeps you moving forward on those big rocks that you want to achieve. And here's an example on the bottom. Finish pages 6 through 10 of the price book and train on 5-star reviews. So again, don't overthink these things. It's just the purpose of putting things down. And these are separate from your 5 daily goals. Okay, these are separate things that that you're working on your rock. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. So next, on the right side of your daily pages in your peak performance journal, you've got a big page, and it says notes and ideas. On the very bottom, it's got ahas and today's takeaways. So this, again, this book allows for a lot of creativity and a lot of individual uses and styles. On the right side in your daily pages, you can put thoughts, ideas, doodling. It's a place where you can capture those thoughts that may not necessarily be tasks, but they're ideas. And on the bottom right side is the space for today's takeaways. These are the moments that you've experienced a breakthrough thought. And what I'd like to do now, for those of you on the call that are actually using the Peak Performance Journal, I'd love to hear some of the things that you're doing to use these. And so if you would raise your hand, I can unmute you, and I'd love to hear some of the ways that you're using the right side pages on your dailies. Don't be shy. Okay, just waiting for it. And on your dashboard, you see the little hand symbol. So if you just click on that, all right, perfect. Lucas, we'll start with you. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, so you are unmuted. There you go.
Thanks, Jody. Hey, I use the right side just for notes and meetings. I'm taking this book almost everywhere I go, so I've constantly filled it with meeting notes. Also, big movements on the rock. I know that there's a space on the left side for rock movements as well, but this gives me a space to get creative with my thinking. The ahas and the to-dos. When you sit through a next star meeting, you're oftentimes inundated with ideas and creative thinking of, I wonder if that would work in my business or my job. So that's where a lot of those notes go for me.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and it's very very fluid. You know, you could even take one of these notes and ideas pages and, you know, one of the things that I get quite often, I'll hear members talk about a great book that they read. And, you know, if you end up with a bunch of sticky notes all over your desk, it's not a very organized way to approach this, you know. So what I've done is I'll take those notes and ideas and I'll make one of these pages like my book list, for example. And if you go up to the very front of the journal where the index says, you can literally write that page number in there. So now you've got a place that you can always go back to, and that, hey, that's where my book list is. This is where my, you know, prospective candidate list is. You know, on and on. You can use this book so many different ways. Who else would like to share? All right, Thad's got his hand up. Beautiful. Okay, Thad, let me unmute you. Okay. Thad, are you there?
He just stepped out.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you then, so just let us know when Thad's back if you'd like to share. Okay. All right. Beautiful. All right. We'll keep moving. All right. And Ashley, you are, I think, self-muted, but let me see. Okay. So let's move forward. So we can review. So we talked about our daily pages that has our reps, our 5-5-20s, our rock movement, our notes and ideas. Now, at the end of the week, in the front of the book, you've got a place to collect your thoughts for the weekly one-on-ones. All right. These are, you know, if you're doing a one-on-one with your direct report or someone, or maybe these are thoughts for your conversation that you're going to have with your business coach, your weeklies are a great place to capture those types of ideas. It's also designed because a lot of our members are using a level 10 format, you know, attraction process. So we also have a spot where you can capture your level 10 notes in the very beginning too. So what were your big wins for the week? You know, it's again, some of the benefits of these are just the mental exercises of actually, you know, writing them down and celebrate those and thinking about them. You know, at the end of the week, you know, write this stuff down so that we capture, hey, what were our ahas? What were our takeaways? And we review our 100-day plan and assess your progress. Ashley, I see you're unmuted now, so you're good to go. All right.
Yeah, Jody, this is something that I use now when I'm putting together my weekly check-in sheet, you know, with my business coach, Jamie. I look back at, you know, the week and kind of just say, okay, where did I spend my time? What was I successful doing? And it does help me when I'm doing my check-in form.
Nice. Yeah, that's fantastic, because it does. It's just what did your week can be a blur. Yeah, and this gives you a place to look at your dailies, bring that stuff back into focus, and then compile your week. You know, what were our takeaways? What did we learn? What progress do we get with our 100-day plan? What were our big wins? Great. Thanks for sharing, Ashley. All right, next we've got the key actions for managing tasks. And the very beginning of the Peak Performance Journal, the first on the inside cover, these are the symbols that we use. You know, so when you write a task down on your daily page, you're going to put a little dot there next to it. When we complete that task, we're going to put an X. We're going to turn that little dot into an X. And so these are typically going to be in today's rock movement is where we're going to put those things. If we're moving it, you know, we're migrating that forward or to somewhere else. If it's maybe a conversation, we're scheduling it, you know, or, you know, if it was reach out to somebody and set up a call, boom, now I've got it scheduled. If it was a note, it's a slash, and if it's an actual event, like I'm going somewhere or I'm attending a webinar or something like that, we put a circle. If it's no longer relevant, we just line it out. And if it's really something that's kind of a high priority, it's like, oh, I can't miss this one, then we have this this symbol on the bottom. So these are just the little keys of the daily activities that we use. All right. I tend personally to not use all of these. I just find that I don't maybe use it to its full capacity, but you know, the notes, the tasks, and the completed is really kind of where I live. So what are some of the other resources to help you with this video or with this peak performance journal? We do have some wake-up calls, perfect mornings, and perfect mornings find your gratitude are a couple of the wake-up calls that will help you with the 5-5-20 routine. On the next star bottom of the homepage, we talked about where to order these and how to get these. Your business coach can help you with these, and so can your implementation coaches. And bulletjournal.com is really kind of the genesis of this process. So if you go to bulletjournal.com, you'll actually get to see a bullet journal format, which is, again, it's different than what we're doing because ours is next starized, but you'll definitely get some great tips there. And if you go to YouTube and you type in bullet journal, there are a lot of hits on there, and you'll get some ridiculously great ideas on how to really take this process and really blow it up so that it becomes more and more of a tool. So again, I've been using this for a few years now, and it's really been a game changer for me. And I've really morphed mine. I don't do a 5-5-20 routine anymore. I have a win the day routine, where I literally have at the beginning of every month, I put together a grid of about 12 things these are all static things that I will do every single day, and again, it's whatever is important to you, but on mine, I've got 60 minutes of active time, my push-ups, my setups, my vitamins, my daily gratitudes, my calorie count, my recaps, So I do a grid in my journal every single month, and I just line these things off. But I've just found this to be the tool that really helps me stay focused. And if anybody would like to talk to me, offline, about tips to use theirs, I'm absolutely help you because I have to thank Tom Marriott for turning us all onto this because this has been a great tool for us. And I love Zig Ziglar, so motivation is like bathing. We recommend it daily. All right, so what's next? Our next webinar is going to be September 6th. Bill Weaver and Ben Henderson are going to do maximizing the wisdom of your team. So that should be fun, interesting, and exciting, and full of gold nuggets. All right. Do we have any final thoughts or questions? Feel free to raise your hand on your control panel if you would like to share something or have a question. Beautiful. And I will be uploading this onto my YouTube, and so if anyone would like a copy of this, or maybe they'd like to share it with somebody, just pop me an email, jodyd@nextstarnetwork.com, and I'll be happy to send the link to you. I know, Rich, you had requested that for one of your folks, so be happy to share that once I get that uploaded. All right, and I see I've got one question here. All right. Ada, you're unmuted.
Oh, okay, thanks. Hi, Jody. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So we were turned on to these at the, I think it was a business meeting back in December, and picked up like 30 of them, had them shipped over. Started with a big meeting to share them with our team, even picked some up for my teenagers. And then we kind of lost the enthusiasm, because I'm not really sure how to keep the conversation going, specifically with our team, without feeling like we're entering or crossing over into a little bit more of a personal conversation, because some of what we do with the 5-5-20 is, something that we do in our quiet time, and something that's for us personally. I opened it up to them to use it as if they're doing advanced education or training at the office. So I just wanted to know if maybe somebody has a good idea, or if you have a good idea on how to kind of bring it back into conversation, either at one-on-ones or team meetings.
One thing I'll share with you would be, yeah, great question. how do we get our folks to really use this and use it consistently as the tool that it is? And I think the biggest tool that we have as leaders is the one-on-one process, so using this as a one-on-one, a coaching tool or an opportunity to really kind of help them understand and use and make this a habit. Another example might be if things are slipping through the cracks, let's say, for example, with one of your team members and things are getting lost or getting missed, that might be a time for a kindly reminder that, hey, wasn't that in your bullet journal? Wasn't that in your peak performance journal? Wow. That if you want help with that, let me know, because things like this won't fall through the cracks if you're using your journal. So it could just be the daily focus and the daily reminder. I remember several years ago when I was a technician and the owner of the company that I worked for, we brought in a high-powered speaker and we literally all came in and to a hotel on a Saturday, and we did a whole thing on time management, and he bought everybody in the business these day planners. And I'm a nerd, right? And I saw the value in it as a technician, and I continued to use mine. But I swear 30 days later, I was the only person in the company, including the owner, that had probably spent over $10,000 to $15,000 to really put this whole thing on and purchase these things. He wasn't even using the thing, So, it's as a leader, I think it's just really kind of keeping the focus on it. All right. So that's my 2 cents. Does anyone else have some tips they'd like to share?
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Any other thoughts for Ada on trying to help keep this stick? All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I hope you saw some value in this. And if there's anything about this really great tool that you still have questions about, just reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to help you with it. All right. Have a fantastic weekend, and thanks for joining us today. Bye now.